So, of course, we're going to be starting the day how we end the day, and that's in bed. And I read the statistic when I was younger that somebody that makes their bed in the morning is over 300% more likely to become a millionaire. So I don't know if it's cheating the system that I only made my bed growing up so that I could force the system into making me a millionaire, but it's just a habit that's always stuck with me. First thing in the morning, we open up here to this gorgeous view. We open the curtains and just feel the blessings we're gonna have for the rest of the day. You can feel the goodness that's about to come and all this incredible energy here. Let's go tour the rest of the house. So we have the shower here with some like natural materials, which I really love. I think that's very grounding. Showers in the morning for me. And then over here, this big tub. Tub time is at nighttime. And those are doors if you want to open it up and give people a show. Give people in the bedroom a show. Or, you know, maybe have a look at the view yourself, I guess, if you were bathing at morning time. But a bath to me is like a cozy thing. And for reasons of productivity, I don't want to get cozy during the daytime because then that's gonna dull my brain. I like to stay very sharp during the daytime. Breakfast time. I personally like to start breakfast on a savory note. I feel starting breakfast on a sugary note throws my whole day off because then mentally I'm worried about all the sugar I had in the morning, and sugar of course is not that great for us. So I like a more savory breakfast, but we still gotta keep it quick because I have a lot of people that I travel with and a lot of people to feed, and I am always the one cooking. A, because I'm damn good at it, and B, because I care about nutrition and what, you know, friends and family are putting in their mouth. So I feel that I'm gonna be the best at prepping it and making sure everything is not just tasty, but safe, balanced, and all of that. Here's a fun fact for you, and this is how we keep it humble in life and we balance the yin and the yang. Even though we are here objectively in one of Africa's most expensive neighborhoods, you would have seen the thumbnail here, the thumbnail to this video. There are homes in this community renting for $500,000 a month. Yeah, it's true. So even though that's where we are, the tap water is still not safe to drink. And we still have to boil tap water every day and then, you know, cool it right away and follow all that protocol. Personally, because I'm a weirdo, I like to drink, hedge my bets, and drink half bottled water, half tap water, half boiled tap water, I should say, because I feel like if I stick to only one, I'll be missing out on what the other has to offer. I'm trying not to get my hands wet here because I like to talk with my hands, and if I do that in a video like this, I'm gonna touch my hair once and then my hair will lose its shape. So I feel like we need to talk about why Mauritius and discuss a little bit about that. There are people in my very well-to-do circles that could not tell you to save their life where Mauritius is on a map. So again, I feel like it's a natural conversation to have why we decided on Mauritius. And first of all, maybe we should start with why leave Canada. Canada in recent years, I feel like has gotten harder and harder to navigate and harder to recognize. Speaking as an immigrant to Canada to begin with, I remember what Canada was like 20 years ago and how much of a different place it was from the rest of the world, in a good sense. Now growing up and becoming my this bird terrified me, and becoming my own business person and becoming my own lawyer and my own adult, right? Somebody with bills to pay. It's become very eye-opening that Canada is not, it unfortunately did not hold up. It did not make it to where it was supposed to be. I saw this horrific standard the other day that during the 2008 crisis, which if you know, you know that literally wiped out entire economies around the world, including the United States, a mega economy. Canada was the strongest economic nation power within the G7. Or G8. And now Canada is the weakest economy in that group, and not weakest by like, you know, a proportional amount, the weakest by far and you can feel it. Very terrible, very poor decisions were made in Canada's migration policies, Canada's tax policies, Canada's real estate policies, a lot of key industries that drive life for the Canadian people. And naturally, you feel it every day. And naturally, at some point, you're going to want to get out if you can. So that, and there's a lot more, you know, you didn't click for an economic lesson. I recognize that. So I'm trying to keep it brief. There's a lot more issues. But that is going to, at some point, even in the most difficult situation in life, one wonders, you know, how much longer? Like, what's really going on here? So we got to that point when it came to Canada and then started to explore options around the world. There's a lot of countries that are a little too exotic, and I use that as a euphemism for the fact that they lack, necessary infrastructures. Then there's countries that wouldn't be much different at all and seem to be having the same issues, like England, the UK, shall we say. So, you look around, Mauritius was top in the world in terms of safety, beautiful climate, quite a robust economic scene here. One that I think resembles what Dubai was supposed to be. Mauritius, it takes like real wealth to get here, as opposed to a place like Dubai where 7 people can share a bedroom and take their selfies at the party of the night and make it look like they're living the life. In Mauritius, you really need to be able to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. So it seemed to be a robust atmosphere in a lot of ways that were important to us. Not to say the country's not without its flaws. Of course, there are serious flaws in the cultural, economic, and social tapestries of Mauritius. But just to say that for right now, while we figure out what our next big step is going to be, and just trying to recoup, I just entered my 30s. I've done some pretty big things in career. I've done some pretty big things in personal life. I'm just trying to breathe for a minute, and this seemed like the best safe haven in which to do so. Yes, there are other countries in the world on which we have our eye, and I will be so happy to put that update on this channel once it comes due. And yes, Canada is still home for all legal, logistical, residential purposes and all of that. But very, very happy to be here, and just wanted to give you that background as to how we got here to begin with. A remote island off the coast of Madagascar. So for a few hours every day, of course, something has to pay the bills. So I do partake in my lawyer work. I'll be honest, most of that happens at nighttime after everyone has fallen asleep. It's just way more conducive to working for me. And also in terms of work-life balance, I don't want to be locked up all day and work during the day while, all this gorgeousness around me is going on, because then it kind of defies the purpose of, having my own businesses, being a lawyer, things like that. What did I do all of that for if I'm just back? It doesn't matter if I'm working under somebody else's 9 to 5 or my own. If I'm trapping myself inside from a 9 to 5 every day, I'm missing out on life, no matter who that 9 to 5 is for. So again, I do the 9 to 5 on my terms, in that it's not a 9 to 5 at all. I might spend an hour or two on emails during the day, just because that's the time, or really important calls, because that's the time that might correspond with some, depending on the time zone I'm in, it might better correspond with some clients. But then a lawyer's work, at least a transactional lawyer, so I'm the kind of lawyer that's going to be negotiating, drafting, things like that. And the negotiation type of stuff, a lot of it is based on reading what's in front of you and then we negotiate, right? So what I'm trying to say is, unlike a lawyer that's going to be in court during a set time of day, I can draft and put down my thoughts as regards to negotiations, things like that, or even negotiating via email, negotiating the client's position. I can do that at, 10 p.m. my time and midnight my time, this and that. And because that's how I have built the day, just before the alarm bells go off, my midnight brain is not really a midnight brain. That's going to be some of when I'm the freshest, because I am designing it so that that is when I can give that spurt of, boom, to my work. That's what brings the billings home by way of the legal billings aspect of my income stream. let me show you my favorite thing about sitting inside. This is the part where I tell you guys, just because it's a luxury channel doesn't mean we're talking about Gucci and Dior all the time. And I remind you of my perspective as somebody that built herself up from food banks to now having billionaire clients. That luxury can look like anything for anybody. For somebody, luxury will be clean drinking water. For somebody else, luxury will be a 50-carat diamond. Everyone has their own definition of that term. For me, it is luxury to be able to sit on, I'm big on textures, to be able to sit on this couch that really makes me feel cozy at nighttime, to be able to look up at the lamp, the chandelier I just showed you, that reminds me of perspective, because it's a chandelier with so many little seashells, and it reminds me that there is so much to this life and so much to do, to be able to look at the natural material ceiling and remind myself of the nature that I try so hard to spend my time in, and just, you know, so much perspective. Parts of this home are very humble, but nonetheless, they do a lot in evoking what I need to evoke within myself to be able to continue to be even more successful than I already am. This is a weird one, but I'll show you this too. I love, ignore the dirty laundry, I love this little duo here. This lamp reminds me of like New York-y, Manhattan-y, whereas this photo, I don't know if you can tell, but that's a photo of like hippos surfacing out of the water. And that photo or that painting reminds me, you know, of the importance of staying adventurous. Adventure, however, because it's 2025, comes with a hefty bill these days. So again, it also brings me back to work harder, Pam, work harder, Pam, work harder, Pam. All of these things combine themselves into a really healthy work-life balance for me. Despite the fact that working for myself, I mean, prior to working for myself, which is something I did, by the way, as soon as I became a lawyer, but prior to becoming a lawyer, I mean, I've been working legally since I was 13 years old. So I had done, you know, I sniffed the sniffs, I sniffed the smells of what the workplace was like. And, you know, on a 8-hour workday, you're going to be trying to like keep at least 2 hours for yourself, an hour of lunch, an hour of breaks or bathrooms or coffees or whatever you do. You're going to try to jib the boss as much as you can because of how little you're paid or how much you're mistreated or all of these workplace toxicities that come with working in that larger team setting. When it comes to working for myself, however, it's the exact opposite mentality. It's the exact opposite mind frame. I mean, out of a 24-hour day, I regularly, despite some of the things I said, you know, I didn't mean to confuse you when I said, for example, I do my law work for a few hours a day and then the hours at nighttime. That might make you think I'm only working a few hours a day. Outside of law, I have other businesses that I run. I am probably working 20-hour days regularly, like 20-hour pump it out, pump it out, pump it out. So a setting like this really helps me get to the numbers and the results that I need to get because of how conducive it is for me.